Welcome to Caffeinated Flicks,
where we drink coffee and celebrate diverse directors.
I'm Celeste.
And I'm Kenzie.
Hi, Celeste.
Hello.
So, how has your week been?
Good. I went to a new coffee place. Oh, but I'll say that.
Oh, a new coffee place. Oh.
Yeah,
you were just going straight into coffee today?
I know, yeah, I didn't mean to. That's why I was like, oh, whoops. I can wait on that. But
That's
what else
okay.
has happened? Oh my gosh, I went blank. Now that I have to rehash my week, I'm like, I don't think anything happened this week.
I heard you went bowling for a second there, and I was like, since when do you go bowling?
No, I don't like bowling. Do you like bowling?
I don't hate it.
I do.
You're just blank stared.
I do, yeah.
Yep, I hate it with a passion of 10 fiery white suns.
Yes, it's so awkward. Like, you have to go up there, everybody watches you. And then, and then if you suck, it's even worse. So no. It's just a no for me.
All right, so you're not playing any team sports anytime soon?
No. No.
Or any solo sports even?
No. No sports for me. Sports are off the table. I don't want to watch them. I don't want to play them. None of that.
Don't want to be adjacent to them.
How was your week?
It was pretty good. On Monday, we went and saw Mission Impossible 7 Part 1, which I think is the stupidest thing that they have to have a 7 Part 1. I'm like, it's just 7.
It's
just 7. I'm like, why is this? But you want to know how long this movie was?
3.5 hours.
Oh, it wasn't quite that long. But it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I was like, why?
Different.
Why does it have to be 2 hours and 45 minutes? This is ridiculous.
Tom Cruise is going to continue making those movies until he dies.
Pretty much. Mm-hmm. It's going to be like Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones, which is astonishing even still that they made a 5th Indiana Jones when he's like 80. As incredible as Harrison Ford is, as far as we know, like the fact that he's still doing Indiana Jones is why. But, this could just be me. I'm pretty sure that I have a relatively hard-ish stance on series movies. I'm like, anything after the first is not as good as the first. And anything after 3 is just excessive. There's no point to it. There's no need for it. You don't need any of it. It's just ridiculous. I don't want it. I don't need it in my life.
You are not a fan of sequels.
I'm not the fan of sequels. I'm not the person. I'm not the demographic. I'm like, the fact that there's like a Fast and Furious 10 just infuriates me.
Yep. They're going to keep making them. You know why? Because they're making bank on them.
I know. And it's just, oh my gosh.
I'm surprised you went to go watch that.
I know.
You don't movie theaters.
I don't. That's the other thing too, is I'm not a movie theater person.
I love that we're doing a movie podcast.
I know.
You don't really go to the movies, and I don't really listen to podcasts. That is, I don't know if we're the right people to be doing this.
Oh my God.
But that does remind me, actually, I did do something this week. My family and I got together, and at Harkins, they play older movies every once in a while.
Yeah.
We watched Notting Hill.
Aww.
Theaters, and it was so cute, and it was so much fun. So yeah, that was the highlight of my week.
That is fun. Oh my gosh.
Yes, and we are watching. We already got our tickets for Barbie. Please tell me you're gonna go watch that.
I'm debating.
Recovering.
I know. I'm debating it. I'm considering it. I'm trying to decide whether or not I know that I'm interested in seeing it. I'm just trying to decide if I want to see it in theaters. Is my thing.
We have to see it in theaters. Every time there's like a diverse director or like telling like a story about like a marginalized community, even if it doesn't look good, I'm to go watch it. Because if people don't watch it, then they're not going to continue making those types of movies. And I'm like, oh.
So here's the deal.
And support.
The reason why I don't go to the movie theaters is really because I can't sit that long,
Oh,
especially in the dark, and especially when I have to use the bathroom. So, and especially when
I
they're
get
almost
that.
3 hours long.
For you, it makes sense because you are the type of person that is always doing something.
Yes. I need to be able to get up out of my chair. And I always feel like it's such an inconvenience when I need to like leave to use the bathroom and I have to like scoot past people, even if it's just 2 people. Like
Get
I
an
still
aisle
feel
seat.
horrific.
Secure yourself
just-
an aisle seat so that way you don't have to disturb anyone.
I just have to separate myself from my pack, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my.
No.
How sad.
I know. I'm sorry. But I'm excited for that movie. It should be really good. I've heard really good things about it.
Well,
I'm really
good. I'm
excited.
glad.
Yeah.
All right, you watch it first, then let me know how long it is.
Oh.
And we'll go from there.
I mean, most movies are like 2 hours now.
I guess I can get behind 2 hours. But like 2 hours and 45 minutes, I was literally like, I was
That's
looking at my
excessive.
Fitbit and I was like, okay, how much longer do I have? And then I'm trying to like guess if this is a good point for me to go use the bathroom real quick.
3 hours for a Mission Impossible movie, like
That is part 1. It is not even, it's not even the end. It is part 1.
I don't know. You have to be a really good, engaging movie to pull off 3 hours. Like, who does he think he is? Peter Jackson? Like, what? Why?
Say what you will. I still didn't think that The Hobbit needed to be 3 movies. I don't care. I love Lord of the Rings so much, but The Hobbit did not need to be 3 movies.
I didn't really care for The Hobbit either. So I'm glad we're on the same page.
And I love Luke Evans. I do not care what his sexuality may or may not be.
That man is beautiful.
If I were to have like a celebrity, like pass list, if you will, he's probably number 1. He has officially surpassed Ewan McGregor. But Ewan McGregor is fast on his heels, even still.
That's amazing. Okay, good news, Kenzie. The Barbie movie, I just confirmed, is 1 hour and 54 minutes.
I love it. Under 2 hours, just shy, but I love it. I think I can deal with that. I can hold it for that long.
Yes.
So Celeste, what are you drinking today?
At this very second, I'm drinking water because I haven't had like any all day. This is
The danger of summertime, girly.
So this morning, I started off with a Dunkin' iced coffee.
Ooh,
And
you're getting
then-
on those.
I know, because I stopped for a while because they were hurting my stomach. I don't know why, but every time I tried a Dunkin' iced coffee, my stomach hurt. So I stopped for a little while, but now I'm good. So let's see how long it lasts. And then later on in the day, I went to a new coffee shop in Phoenix.
Okay.
I pulled it up. I think it's called Zolo Coffee. It looks like it's pretty new. So it's XOLO coffee. And I had a masapan iced latte with oat milk.
Ooh.
I think you've tried them before, Kenzie, masapanes.
I was going to say. Yeah.
They're like the peanut butter powdery circle thing.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
They literally take one of those, put a little bit of mocha in there, and then voila, put the espresso, and that is your iced latte.
Holy crap nuggets.
And it was truly delicious. So I'm very happy that I'm very proud of myself for getting something new because I was tempted to get a matcha, but I was like, no, Celeste, I'm going to try something new. And I got myself
I'm proud of
a
you.
masapan. Yep. latte.
Was it delicious?
It was delicious.
Was it well worth it?
It was. I'm so happy. Yeah. So
Good.
that
I'm
was
so
what I had
glad.
today. Yep. What
That
are you
sounds
drinking or
great.
what did you have today?
Oh my gosh. So I've been caffeinating all day. I, like you, have barely drank any water.
Yeah.
But right now, so I think I told you that when we went to Oregon, we basically drank the entire week.
I believe
Like,
it.
multiple beverages, multiple alcoholic beverages the entire week, and every day the entire week. And so coming back, I was like, I need to give my liver a break. And my dad disagrees strongly. He's like, livers are meant to be punished. But I'm like, no, I'm going to be slightly responsible and I'm going to take a break. And so I went ahead and I found this non-alcoholic beer company. And I found them when I was training for my marathon because I think you remember I went dry for the month of October leading up to my marathon. And it's called Athletic Brewing Company. And so it's a non-alcoholic brewing company. And they have this one beer right now that they have partnered with Super Coffee, which is a to-go beverage drink, coffee drink company. And it's an extra dark with coffee, like dark stout style, non-alcoholic beer. And the description says, inspired by the power of positive energy and the grind of endless grit. Souped Up is a coffee-infused extra dark brew crafted in collaboration with Super Coffee. It's got 5 grams of protein, lightning bolts of flavor, and a rich, full-bodied finish. Drink up and charge on. And it's actually pretty good. I like it. I'm a fan. Yeah.
Non-alcoholic beverages are like becoming a big thing now.
Yeah.
But like they're everywhere.
It's because like I've heard that Gen Z really isn't into drinking. And so in order to attract more Gen Zs, because they are of age now, to like come out and spend money on shit, they're like, okay, well, we need more mocktails.
True. I heard that too. They're like, oh yeah, I think it was an article or something, but like they're like, oh yeah, Gen Z is like starting to drink like a lot less than, you know, previous generations. And then a Gen Zer came out and was like, it's because it's too damn freaking expensive.
Yeah.
Like no Gen Zer can afford an alcoholic beverage.
Meanwhile, us millennials are like, we need our wine. It's a hard life out here. We need our alcohol. Let's do this shit.
I will settle for, I think I went to Walmart once and found a $3 bottle of Moscato. And I'm like, yep, I'll take it.
Trader Joe's has some really good wines for some really great prices. So not that I drink wine. That's the unfortunate thing for me is like, I'm not a wine person, but you know, I do like my craft beer and I do like my whiskeys. So I'm golden on that front. Yeah. I can do everything else. Wine is just not my cup of tea. You know, I will drink just about any other liqueur or liquor or beer. Well, that's not true. I won't drink any beer. I had to stop myself there. I was like, that is not a true statement. But like mezcal, whiskey, bourbon, craft beer. Gimme. So
yummy. You have dabbled with some wines though. Remember that like that chocolate wine that you told me about from AJ's?
Yeah.
I haven't had it because I haven't been to AJ's. I
haven't been able to find it in so long.
That's so sad.
I haven't gone. Yeah.
It sounds delicious.
It is. You put enough chocolate in anything and it's delicious.
Yeah,
as long as you're not allergic.
Oh yeah. That's so sad. Like I don't even love chocolate, but like the fact that there are people out there who are allergic to
like some people who live in this house of mine.
Oh, sad.
So shall we get into it then?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So today we are covering Jennifer's Body from 2009. This movie is a romp, if I do say so myself.
Wait, it's a what?
A romp.
A romp. Oh, okay. I thought you combined like rom-com and like I was like, I guess so. It could.
It could be. It could be a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
A dark romantic comedy. It's fine.
Yeah.
So Jennifer's Body was directed by Karyn Kusama. Karyn Kusama was born on March 21st, 1968 in Brooklyn. So she's an Aries. She's actually an Aries on the very first day of Aries. So she's one of those people who was right on the cusp. Supposedly that has something to do with your star sign or your air sign or whatever sign. But, you know, I don't know exactly how it comes into play. It just does. So she's a graduate of NYU's film school, and her debut production, Girl Fight, won both the Director's Award and the Grand Jury Prize at the Sundance Film Festival in 2000. She also did Aeon Flux, starring Charlize Theron, and several other movies. And she also has directed several TV shows, including The L Word, Masters of Sex, Billions, and the recent hit Yellow Jackets.
Have you seen Yellow Jackets?
I haven't yet, no. Have you?
Haven't either, no. I heard it's really good, though.
I have too. It's like Lord of the Flies on steroids.
It looks dark.
Looks dark as fuck.
Yeah.
Except for her movie Girl Fight and Jennifer's Body, almost all of her feature films as of 2022 were written by her husband, Phil Hay, and his writing partner, Matt Manfredi. And all three of them together co-own a film and TV production company. So a quote from her: she revisits Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby from 1968 at least every year, and she finds the film endlessly watchable, funny, scary, and a sly feminist fable about the pitfalls of the patriarchy. I quote it back to the screen as if in a trance. She said that in 2016. And then Kusama is part Japanese, so hence her last name being Kusama.
Oh, I would have not put the two together. I did not hear Kusama and that. Yep, that's Japanese.
I had an inkling. I was like, I'm pretty sure that this is a Japanese last name, but I wasn't entirely sure until I found it. And I was like, there it is. So in case you had not seen the movie poster, the cast includes Megan Fox. And this movie actually came out like right after the whole debacle and pitfalls that happened with Megan Fox is falling out with Michael Bay over Transformers.
Oh.
So this is in the midst of Michael Bay trying to like drown Megan Fox's career.
Wow.
So yeah, talk about some drama.
Right.
And then this also includes Amanda Seyfried, which I would argue is actually the main character of the film.
I think so too. I would say she's the main character. At that time, I'm pretty sure probably Megan Fox was more popular. Right. But
And then we've got Adam Brody from Gilmore Girls. Oh my gosh.
And he's a musician in that one too.
I know. Crazy.
I meant to look up, is he like a musician in real life?
You know what? I did look that up. I looked him up, and I swore like previously when I had looked him up when I was watching Gilmore Girls, I thought he was, but when I looked him up again specifically with that question in mind, I couldn't find anything anywhere saying that he was a musician. So I don't think that he actually is.
Maybe it was just like a skill he put on his resume.
Right.
And then every director after that was like, okay, you're going to play a guitar from now on and everything.
Right. But he's really good in this movie. He's amazing. Like they all are. Everybody's really fantastic in this movie. Then we've got Johnny Simmons, who plays Chip. We've got Chris Pratt for literally a minute.
I feel like I did not remember him being in this movie.
I know. I always forget. Because he's only in it for that 1 minute.
Yeah.
Like he only has 3 lines.
I love Juno. I recently saw Juno.
So fun fact. So the person who actually wrote this movie, the person who wrote Jennifer's Body, actually wrote Juno. So to see J.K. Simmons in this movie also, like there's some like 2 degrees to Kevin Bacon shit going on here.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So then we've got Amy Sedaris, who plays Amanda Seyfried's character's mom. Have I was like, what kind of mom is this? My gosh. She's very interesting.
Did you watch Kimmy Schmidt?
No, I have not seen Kimmy
Schmidt. She's
no.
in that too.
Oh, okay.
So ridiculous.
And then we've got a smattering of other actors here and there, but those are pretty much the main cast that we will see in the film itself. So some fun facts actually up at the top about the cast. So Blake Lively actually turned down the role of Jennifer Check, who was played by Megan Fox in this movie. Emma Stone was considered for the role of Needy, who is played by Amanda Seyfried. And the filmmakers were actually considering using rock stars like Pete Wentz and Joel Madden for the role of Nikolai Wolf, who is played by Adam Brody.
Oh, I can see Emma Stone playing Needy. I can see that.
I can, but I like Amanda Seyfried. I like Amanda Seyfried in this role. Yeah.
She's amazing.
I love Emma Stone in some of
I don't think I could see Blake Lively playing this role. Like, I can't picture it.
I can't either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that Blake Lively has that. It's like that mean girlness or like that conniving bitch kind of feel to her.
Yeah, I know she played like something like that. I forgot what movie.
Oh, she did?
Like, a few years ago. Yeah. I don't know, something Lie or Truth. I don't know, but she plays like a deceitful, conniving, like mysterious character, but still. Also, like, would it work because she's a blonde? So then they would have to probably recast Needy or make her a brunette.
Yeah. Well, and that would make sense with Emma Stone then.
There you go. Yep. But yeah, I think they did the correct casting for this.
Yeah. Would you like to read the 10 out of 10 rating for me?
Yes, I will go ahead and do that. So the title is Ahead of Its Time. This movie was released about 10 years before it would be appreciated. It's a comedy that touches on the relationships between women and combating misogyny in everyday life. Fox delivers on dark humor and gives a refreshing performance that allows her to showcase the depths of her talent and subtlety?
I think it's supposed to be subtlety.
Oh, subtlety. Like subtlety.
Is she subletting today? I don't know.
Subtlety. The movie overall is funny, dark, and in a bizarre way, heartwarming.
That confuses me. I don't get heartwarming in any way, shape, or form in this, but okay.
I'm a bit concerned for this person that did this review.
Same.
I recommend it to anyone for a good laugh, but especially to young women who are looking to non-commercialize female protagonists.
No, I'm also concerned about like how young of women are we talking about? Like, I don't think I'd show this to anybody younger than like 16 or 15, probably.
Yeah. Hopefully she's targeting that towards like young adults. That's what I'm going to tell myself.
All right. So the 1 out of 10 says highly overrated. Why did so many people give this such high marks? The plot makes no sense. The writing is so bad. The characters have nothing to them. Jennifer's a terrible friend, and we can't care about her. Never want to watch this again. So bad. What the heck is this writing? Who the heck are these characters? I have an inkling that this is either reviewed by like a 13-year-old or somebody who's strongly religious, because they're saying, who the heck? What the heck?
Oh, yeah. I feel like if it was someone religious, they probably would have referenced Jesus or the devil, or
that's true,
something demonic. Don't show
probably
your children.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. So I'm going with 13 then. So shall we get into the movie then?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we open up on the point of view of someone creeping up to a window, looking in on a sick-looking Jennifer, played by Megan Fox. And then we find out that it's Needy, Amanda Seyfried. Now, first and foremost, I cannot stand the fact that her character's name is Needy. Like, the actual character's name is Anita, but we never find that out. We just know her by Needy.
I don't know how they came up with that nickname. Also,
I don't either.
I don't like the fact that they made Amanda Seyfried the unattractive friend.
I know.
I'm like, she's beyond beautiful. They just
Right?
slapped on some glasses and were like, okay, you're the designated ugly friend.
It's like when you're watching Miss Congeniality
Yeah.
and you just watch it and you're like, I know that you're attempting to tell me that Sandra Bullock isn't pretty, but it's
we all
not
know she's
working.
gorgeous. Yeah, Amanda
Like-
Seyfried is literally a blonde bombshell.
Right. She's got bug eyes, dude.
I know.
Like but they do put horrific glasses on her. Like those glasses are
Yeah.
awful. They put
they are.
awful glasses on her.
They do.
Ugh. We cut to a scene of Needy doing voiceover in a mental institution. She's talking about her fans and how they write to her. Some of them say that they'll pray for her. Some of them are a little bit mean to her. But then she tells us about her nickname, the Kicker, and we see a sequence on how she got that nickname and about how she kicked an orderly across the room, essentially, and then she gets thrown into solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Always a good time.
I know. I don't know. Like, if they know she's a kicker, why was she like so close to her? Like,
I know. I think this was before, though.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how she got the nickname, the Kicker.
Oh, okay. I thought they already knew in advance. I'm like,
No.
maybe she should keep her distance.
Right. I think it's hilarious, too, because she's wearing like bunny slippers.
Yeah. Or maybe her fans. Yeah, because she did say that some of her fans were perverts. So,
yeah. It's kind of like those women who write to serial killers in jail and are like trying to like propose marriage and shit, you know?
yeah, probably like send them nudes and things like that. Ugh. Okay.
I wasn't even going to go that far.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
I feel like I heard that in something I
No.
watched. Like they send like nude photos of themselves. I'm like, oh my God.
I would not be surprised,
Yeah.
honestly. So Amanda Seyfried continues on and says that, you know, she didn't used to be this cracked. And it wasn't until the killings. And she gives us the setting for our story today. It's Devil's Kettle, and it's actually named after a waterfall. And this waterfall has this vortex, and nobody knows where it goes to. The scientists in the area have been dumping shit down there for years, and they never have it pop up anywhere. So they have no idea where this is going. But 2 months ago, everything was normal. And then we see that it was just Needy, Jennifer, and Needy's boyfriend, Chip. Needy says that people find it hard to believe that a babe like Jennifer would be friends with such a dork like Needy. And this is when we find out that Needy has those horrendous glasses.
Yeah.
They're so bad. They're like circular and plastic and chunky, and they don't fit her face right. And I'm just like, why? Why? Like, you could have done so many other things if you were trying to make Amanda Seyfried not attractive, but these glasses are just bad. But they do fuck up her wardrobe also. Like, her wardrobe is just bad. But whatever.
Yeah. All of it is really bad. Like, they came out in 2009. It wasn't that old. Like, a lot of it was giving me like 90s vibes.
Mm-hmm. 90s had more fashion than this. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Clueless. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah. True.
So next we see Jennifer come over to Needy's locker and she invites her to a rock show. And then we cut to Needy in her bedroom. She's telling us that she's trying to figure out what to wear. She can't have something that shows her cleavage because Jennifer's got custody over, you know, having her boobs out. That's her thing. But Needy's allowed to show a little bit of her stomach. And we find out that Chip's there, which I did not realize. Like, I'm surprised to see her boyfriend there. She's probably like 17 maybe. And her boyfriend's there helping her get ready for a rock show that he's not going to, but she's like dressing in and out of outfits and trying to figure out what to wear. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I guess he's just there. And then he makes a comment that she always does what Jennifer wants. And Needy says, you know, Jennifer's just been following this band on MySpace forever. You know, she really is interested in the lead singer. And, girls like her always go for lead singers. They never go for drummers. And he's like, thanks, because he's a drummer, I think, on the marching band. And she's like, that's okay. Not everybody can be into drummers. And apparently we find out that Needy has no idea who Phil Collins is.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, how do you not know who Phil Collins is? I'm pretty sure Tarzan's out by now. And there's Genesis and Phil Collins doing his own thing. And I know for sure In the Air Tonight, I can feel it calling in the air tonight. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You don't even need to be a fan of him to know who Phil Collins
to know that song is out and about. So Phil Collins is out there. Yeah. All you have to do is open your ears.
Well, we are in a small town, so who the heck knows?
I mean, still.
They do technically live under a rock.
I guess. Whatever.
They have to be, apparently.
But so Needy goes in to kiss Chip, and Jess says he wants to get it on. She kind of pops her head up and is like, Jennifer's here. And Jess says she senses that Jennifer's like, hey, come downstairs. They head downstairs. He's like, that's so freaky that you can do that. Then Jennifer makes a comment. She's like, it smells like Thai food. Have you guys been fucking? And then they continue to laugh between Needy and Jennifer, and Needy and Jennifer get into a shoving match until Jennifer pushes her a bit too hard into the door. It's like, all right, it's just time for us to go to the club. Chip then intervenes and says, Melody Lane is not a club. It's barely even a bar. So
like, I'm so sorry. I was going to say,
continue.
Like, do you think the writers actually do like research on how, young kids actually talk? Because like,
I don't know.
The things that they say, like, oh, it smells like Thai food in here. Like, and also other things that I like would, I'll point it out later if like it comes across. But like, I'm like, I have never heard anyone talk like that. Because I feel like, I'm pretty sure back in 2009, I was in like junior high or high school at that time, like around when this movie came out. And I'm like, I've never heard anybody talk like this.
I certainly haven't either.
I know. So I'm like, where are these people, like these writers, getting their information?
I know. And then they talk about like salty.
Yes,
like
the
being
salty.
Hot.
I'm like,
what?
Yeah, Dell. Who knows? Okay, that was just my comment.
So the girls head out. And once they get to Melody Lane, Jennifer is commenting on the various guys. There's a guy there named Craig. He's on the football team and he's been trying to get with Jennifer, but to her, he's not worth it. Then we see Chris Pratt. His name is Roman. He's a police cadet and he's almost done with training.
Yeah, it's just like, you're still in training.
And then there's some commentary on handcuffs and it's just dumb, but
yeah.
And then they make a comment on the international student Amit, who is from, I believe, India, probably. And they comment on potentially him being uncircumcised, and she said that she's always wondered what it's like to be with a sea cucumber.
Oh Lord.
So many just like hilariously bad like dialogue.
Yeah.
So much hilariously bad dialogue. Oh. So then the band comes out on stage. They're getting their gear ready. Jennifer eyes them from across the room and says that they need some groupies. Needy's very hesitant about the whole thing, but Jennifer says that, the girls have all the power. She grabs a hold of her boobs and says, these are smart bombs. And Jennifer takes off towards the lead singer. She says, hi, I'm Jennifer. And then he's like, hey, I'm Nikolai. I'm the lead singer. This is my band. And she proceeds to lean into dumb high school girl speak, essentially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she does. She leans all the way. Like, she's gorgeous. Like, obviously, Megan Fox is freaking smoking gorgeous. And even I was like, like, I was cringe. I was like, is it possible you've made yourself unattractive?
She just sounds really
That's
dumb.
how
It's so
bad
funny.
it was.
But so she offers to buy him a drink. She says that they have like some a red, white, and blue shooter that is like the bar's specialty, and they got to drink it fast, so otherwise it turns brown. Like,
I'm like, ew, why is it turning brown?
because all the colors mixed together.
Ew.
But once she heads out to the bar, the lead singer says to his group, what about Jennifer? She's probably a virgin. And he's trying to say, girls like that, they never actually give it up. They always play hard to get, essentially. And Needy is just over to the side, and she overhears this. And she makes the wrong move which we don't know at this time that it's the wrong move. Mm-hmm. She makes the wrong move where she goes over to him and she's like, yeah, she is a virgin. And it beats hanging out with guys like you. And she hangs back to go hang out with Jennifer as she's coming back with the drinks. And Needy tells her all about the interaction that Nikolai had with the band. And Jennifer's like, I'm not even a backdoor virgin, thanks to Roman.
Oh, yeah. She's like, I just sit on peas like the next day or something.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my.
I know, right?
So the band starts up. They start to play one song. During this song, Needy and Jennifer hold hands from Jennifer's initiation. And Needy kind of looks longingly at her, but then lets go kind of in a... trying to think of how to describe this in a like, I don't want to lean too far into this kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Hesitation, I feel. And then we pan over to the side of the stage and we see that part of the stage has started to catch a blaze. And then we see that fire has caught all the way up the stage. And this all happens before the first song ends. And the entire bar is set on fire.
Yeah. I was like, holy crap, that fire like spread quickly.
So fast.
Well, yeah.
So fast. There are
so fast.
Wooden beams falling down on people. There are people caught on fire. Like, there's almost nowhere to run. This is so fast. Mm-hmm. It's wild. But Needy grabs hold of Jennifer, who is in a state of mesmerization.
Yeah, she is.
She's been put in a trance ever since the song started. And I have a feeling like something happened when that song started that she actually was like magically put into a trance. I don't know what it is, but something happened because she acts really weird from this point forward. So Needy grabs her hand. She's like, follow me. I know where to go. So they head to the bathroom. They get on top of the toilet and escape through the bathroom window. And they do make it out. And oddly enough, as soon as they make it out, Nikolai comes out. He has his jacket on. He's got a whiskey in his hands. He's like, oh, I'm so glad that you guys got out safely.
So cash. Like, like as though the building right next to them has not like gone up in flames. Like, right. He's like, oh, like, with a drink.
Yeah. He's like, let's go someplace safe, like my van.
It's like my murder van right here.
Like my murder van. Let's go someplace safe. How did he not only escape the building, but then get a drink and put on a jacket and get the rest of his band out in the time that it took Needy and Jennifer to escape, while also still having like smoke and fire on them? But he looks completely clean.
Right. Are we thinking like they did some sort of like ritual thing where like they planned this?
Yes.
Or am I
think so.
Okay, good. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure they did. They had to do some kind of prep beforehand. Yes. I'm pretty sure. They did some evil prep.
They had an escape route. They already knew.
This was all planned.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah. So Jennifer is in a complete stupor and she says, yes, I'm going to go with them into the van because she is still in this trance.
Yeah.
And tells Needy to bug off. This is when we get a voiceover of Needy while we see Melody Lane blow up behind her. And she says, I knew he was evil and I knew something bad was going to happen. And we see kind of shrug his shoulders and give a creepy little smile.
Yeah, he does. What does she say? She's like, oh, he was a creepy, skinny little guy.
Yeah, something of that
Something
nature.
like that. Yeah. Meanwhile, there's literally people behind them running out.
I know.
Literally, they're in flames.
It's hilariously bad.
Yeah.
So then the van takes off like a bat out of hell, pun intended. So Needy gets home and she calls Chip to explain what happened. And he freaks out like he should. And he's like, are you okay? What happened? And just when they're on the phone, the doorbell rings. And Needy asks him to stay on the phone while she goes to investigate the front door. And he very dutifully does. He's like, do you want me to come over? And she's like, no.
I love how, like, when she calls him, he's like, she tells him about the bar, like, catching flames. And then she's like, and then Jennifer. And he's like, Needy, people literally are dying. Like, and she's like, Jennifer's missing. And he's like, people are dead. Like,
yeah.
He's like, I don't care about Jennifer.
Pretty much. She's like, but this is my best friend. She might be murdered or raped in that van, which is a fair concern.
True. Yeah. Maybe not for Chip, but.
Yeah. Chip really doesn't like her.
It's understandable, though.
I get that. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that she has to be treated like that either.
That's true.
So Needy goes to open up the door, being very brave and very stupid, but nobody's there. And then as she's hanging out, looking outside, we see a shadow of somebody move right behind her. And of course, she hangs up the phone saying, nobody's here. And right as she's about to go upstairs, she has an instinct to head down the hallway towards the kitchen. She gets inside the kitchen. She's looking around. She's in the sink. And just as she turns around, Jennifer pops up in front of her, bruised, bloody, gruesome, and smiles like a Joker smile in her face.
Totally demonic.
Jennifer doesn't say anything. She just turns around, goes to the fridge, pulls out a Boston Market chicken from the fridge. And as Needy comes near her, with the instincts of a ravaged dog, she just roars at Needy.
Yeah.
And then she starts to choke, like she's choking on maybe some chicken bones in her throat or something like that. And then she starts to projectile vomit black goo all over the floor.
Do you think she starts choking because she's no longer human? So human food makes her sick?
You know what? I hadn't thought about that, but that is a very astute observation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because she doesn't eat any animals throughout the entire movie. I think you're right. She's like, this won't do. But then she just giggles. This maniacal giggle. So Needy does the smart thing and she tries to run away. And she's trying to call somebody, but Jennifer runs after her and she pins her to the wall. She cops a feel. Can't figure out why that happens. And then asks, are you scared? And takes off.
Oh, goodness.
So the next day at school, Needy is in complete and utter shock. And she's recalling a memory of Jennifer and her while they were kids. And all of a sudden, Jennifer breaks her trance and Jennifer's completely normal. And she's like, what's your deal? Why are you acting weird? And she's like, you're normal. Why are you normal? And she's like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm normal. I'm better than normal.
She's glowing. She is like...
She's like, I'm great. I'm fantastic. I'm 120%. So they're in what looks like science class. And this is where we get the effervescent J.K. Simmons. And they have given J.K. Simmons a hook and a hairstyle that is reminiscent of Gene Wilder.
But why the hook?
Why
Was this based on the novel? And so maybe the person in the novel had a hook, but it just seemed very
I don't think it's based off of anything. I just think it's hilarious and just like, why? I think they're just very odd choices. So he tries to give the class a pep talk, and saying, we lost some people, but we won't let this keep us down. And we will see that there's a runner through the movie where the band, which we didn't say the name of the band, but the band's name is Low Shoulder. And they have been rumored to have helped save people from this fire, not start the fire and run away like little bitches. But
like they did.
Mm-hmm. But they've been rumored to help save people from this fire. So they will be a recurring rumor and theme throughout this movie. So I believe this is kind of the first instance of it as well. So right as Needy leaves the classroom, we learn from her conversation with her and Chip that basically all of school's let out for the day and they meet in the hallway. And Needy tells him what happened between her and Jennifer, that Jennifer came in and threw up black goo all over her. And he says, I think you should talk to a school counselor. And that will also be a recurring theme throughout this movie. Everybody thinks that Needy is crazy.
At first, though, he was like, she probably just inhaled too much smoke. Like, I don't...
That's not how that works.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I'm not a scientist or doctor, but I don't feel like that's accurate.
Especially that much. My gosh.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was more liquid per volume than she had in her entire body. So then, as her and Chip are walking down the hallway, we see an emo boy come down the stairs and around the corner, and his name is Colin Gray. And he tells Needy that he's really glad that she didn't die.
So
Chip gets a little insecure about this, but she's like, he's a really good writer. So Chip walks Needy home. And then we cut to Jennifer walking across the football field up to a jock, who we find out is Jonas. And she tells Jonas that she saw Craig, the football guy from earlier, that she saw him and she was probably the last person to ever talk to him, like ever. And he said that they would probably make a banging couple. And he's like, he said banging? And she's like, yeah. And then she takes his hand and puts it on her boob and is like, my heart is broken. And he's like, mine too.
Oh my God. This whole interaction was so ridiculous. Oh no.
So she takes him into the woods. I have a question here about what are shuddies, but
yeah, because they're making out in the forest, and then he's like, why is your body so hot?
Oh, that's right. And that's what I was like, what are shuddies?
Yeah, what are shuddies though? Like, I don't get it.
No idea.
I didn't understand. Is that like another like teen slang that the writers made up?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know.
Oh God.
So they're making out, and they're making out hard. And it's so funny too, because like Megan Fox is literally like a twig, and this dude is like,
he's massive.
The Iron Giant compared to her. Like, just huge. I'm sure he's probably normal sized. It's just that she's so extremely tiny compared to him. And I'm pretty sure that's on purpose. But anyway, so they're making out, and he's starting to get a little weirded out because all of a sudden, all of the forest animals are surrounding them. We've got deer, we've got beavers, we've got bunnies, raccoons, we've got all the forest animals. And he's like, Jennifer? And she's like, what? By unzipping, I'm trying to think of what the terminology and phrasing is of that. Unzipping her hoodie to reveal that she's wearing absolutely nothing underneath this little hoodie of hers, and takes it off. She then tears his shirt apart, which is like a jersey. So that shit is double clothed. My God. And then she shoves him against a tree. And at that moment, when he is unsettled in the land beneath him, her face begins to, what's it called when a snake does it? She like dislocates her jaw essentially. And then,
yeah. You see it in quite a few horror movies when like the mouth just like elongates, like their jaw.
And her teeth become like razors essentially. Yep. And she starts to bite through his neck. So we cut to J.K. Simmons' character across the football field, getting into his car, and he hears Jonas screaming. And he just assumes that it's a kid letting out his agony. And he's like, let it out. Let it out, man. Let it out. But as he continues to hear the screaming, he starts to get more and more concerned. So he decides to make the brave move of trekking into the woods. And as he does, he eventually comes across Jonas's split open body and sees that a deer is licking him.
All the animals are there. They're feeding.
They are feeding. Even the herbivores.
Yeah, because he's like, and I think she was like, oh, they're waiting. I think she made like some sort of comment like that.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. So we cut to Needy making herself a fried bologna sandwich. And this is where her mom wakes up and says that she had a bad dream. And that something bad was happening to Needy and that she won't always be there for Needy. And Needy tells her that it's 4:00 in the afternoon. So it was more like a bad daydream? No, daymare? What did she call it? Do you remember?
Know. Yeah, but
she said like she had like a nightmare or something like that.
A day terror. Because she's like,
day terror.
I had one of those night terrors.
Nightmare. Yep.
Like more like a day terror. But like,
yep, you're right.
Something else she said, the mom was like, oh, they were pinning you on like nailing you to like something. And then she said, just like JC. And I was like, JC? And then I'm like, oh my God, is she referring to Jesus Christ? I've never heard anyone refer to Jesus Christ as JC. I'm like, oh my God,
you know
what is this woman?
I think I have, but only in the movie Saved. So,
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you need to see it. It's one of my favorites. It's hilarious. It's got Mary Louise Parker in it. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but then we never see the mom again. Also, I don't think she appears ever again in the movie.
No, we see her again at the formal when she's taking photos of her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when she's taking photos. Yeah. I don't think she really says anything.
That's it. Okay. Nope. That's it.
Get from her.
Pretty much. So we cut back to the woods area and we cut to Jonah's parents crying over his body being loaded up into the ambulance. And we see from sky view Jennifer swimming naked in the lake. And she feels real good about herself. So speaking of which, later she calls Needy and is really feeling herself. And she's like, I feel so yummy. Meanwhile, Needy is back on Earth and is like, you know, like half the town just died, right? And she's like, well, you don't have to be a downer. So then Chip calls Needy and says that he needs to see her now. She goes back to Jennifer and says she has to go. And Jennifer replies that Chip seems really tasty lately. And Needy doesn't know what to respond with that, as nobody should. And she just hangs up the phone. So Needy meets up with Chip and says that, you know, there's a lot of cops around. And she's trying to figure out why there's so many cops at his house. And he's like, no, they're not at my house. They're at the neighbor's house. And that his parents went over to talk to the police. And as it turns out, Jonas was killed. In fact, it looks like he was eaten. And Needy's like, isn't it weird that Melody Lane burned down and now somebody's been cannibalized.
So, like, in the movie, so when Jennifer first calls Amanda, and Amanda's like, half of the town is like mourning or something. And she says, she's like, oh, he was just some dumb jock or something like that. She makes a statement like that. And so I'm like, oh, is she like, I feel like those were like one of the signs to like give her away that she, because how would she know that happened? And so this, like, that was the first time I caught on that when I watched this movie.
It's like Jennifer didn't know that Needy didn't know that happened, and Needy didn't know what she was talking about.
Exactly. I was like, oh,
girl, you giving yourself away.
Right? But then she didn't even catch on. So I was like, oh, well, no, that was a waste.
And she didn't remember it either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. The next day, we see the school is all in black and mourning, but Jennifer's cutting through the crowd. And she's glowing, she's in bright pink hearts, and she's just looking as glamorous and beautiful and hot as ever. So then we're at the 1 month anniversary, and we know this because J.K. Simmons has come back into the scene to tell us that it is the 1 month anniversary since the fire. And we see that Jennifer is not looking so hot anymore. And Needy comments, I don't mean to be rude, but you're looking really tired. So J.K. Simmons announces that it is the 1 month anniversary, and the band Low Shoulder is planning to donate 3% of their proceeds of their hit song. And Needy's like, is that just rude? Like, what about the other 97%? That's barely anything. I don't even know how this rumor got started about them pulling people out of the Melody Lane fire. It's not even true. I was there. And then one of the girls gets extremely defensive about this. They're like, how dare you say this about our Lord and Savior Low Shoulder?
What did she say? Oh my gosh. So clearly she's a diehard fan, but she's like, oh, it's on Wikipedia. Like, she
it's
was
on
trying
Wikipedia.
to prove something. Yeah.
Which in 2009, Wikipedia was not to be trusted.
It's still not to be trusted.
I know. It's to be trusted with a grain of salt now.
Okay.
It's at least a little bit more vetted now. There actually is some vetting system to it, at least so I'm told. Yeah.
So they say.
So they say.
I still don't trust it. I'm like, oh,
I still don't trust it. But
I know, yeah.
I know that from high school, they told us never to use Wikipedia as like a reliable source.
Yep. It was always .org, something else. We were told Wikipedia .com. Yeah. Don't trust a .com.
.org.
.gov, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, right? When class ends, Jennifer's saying how she's starting to finally look like some of the normal girls. Her hair's looking limp. Like her face is breaking out. Like she's tired. And she's like, I need to get my glow back. And this is when her and Needy run into Colin in the hallway. And he's trying to have some banter. And she's like, would you just ask me out already? And he starts to stammer back and is like, oh, okay. And he asks her out and says that he wants to go to a Rocky Horror show. And she's like, I don't even like boxing movies. His response, it's not a fucking boxing movie. But basically, she blows him off and he goes away and he goes down the hallway. And that's when Needy tells Jennifer, he's really cool, actually. And that's what causes Jennifer to change her mind. So there's something in Jennifer's mind now. So there's something in Jennifer's mind that now she's like competing with Needy. That if Needy finds somebody attractive or if Needy finds somebody tantalizing, if you will, that Jennifer has to take them for her own. And I don't know why.
Who knows?
And just like that, to see another example of this, Chip comes over and Jennifer gets all excited.
Yeah, she does. She gets all like giddy.
She does. She gets
I'm
so
like,
giddy.
"Oh."
And Needy sees this too, and she pulls Chip in for a kiss. And then Jennifer's like, get a room, you two. And she goes off on her own. That's also when she actually goes over to Colin and says, hey, I actually changed my mind. Why don't you come over to my place instead? I was thinking about watching Aquamarine again, and you can come over and watch it with me.
What did she say about Aquamarine, though? She's like, oh, about like some girl mermaid
Who's
and
half sushi.
half sushi, yeah. And she has to do it out of some hole. I don't know, but like, that was like.
She has to fuck from her blowhole or something like that.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who talks like this? Like,
see, this is how you know that Megan Fox is actually a great actress, because you can't say this shit with a straight face.
true.
Like, it's so hard to say any of this with a straight face. When Needy and Chip are by themselves, Chip asks Needy, so are you going to come over tonight? I got another box of condoms from Super Target. We cut to later that night. We've got both parties on their respective quote-unquote dates. And we see that Chip and Needy are in Chip's room, and they're starting to make out. And then we cut to Colin driving to his date with Jennifer, and he is so pumped. And he's singing to this punk version of I Can See Clearly Now the Rain Is Gone. It's so funny. And he is starting to get more and more concerned as he turns down a road that is completely dark and desolate.
Yeah.
As I would be too.
He like super sketched the fuck out.
Yeah. So he finally reaches the address that Jennifer texted him. And he tries the door, even though for whatever reason there's a 2x4 across the front door, which I don't know why he wouldn't just get in his car and go the hell back.
Or call.
Right.
Like, are you sure this is your place? Like, this guy must be desperate to get laid if he is willing to go into this abandoned freaking place.
Like, there's a 2x4 on the door. Why would you even try? Clearly.
He's desperate to get laid.
I guess. I've never been a teenage boy, so I don't know.
Wouldn't know from personal experience.
Right? He's so desperate that he actually goes around to the back and sees that there's a plastic sheet over a window frame and climbs in.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Needy and Chip, and he grabs a condom off of the end table, and Needy comments, slippery swirl. So here we get another example, 2 weeks in a row, of responsible, awkward application of a condom.
Yay!
Hooray for safe sex. So we see Colin again making his way up the stairs of this abandoned house. Don't know how many times I have to say it, but he makes it upstairs, and there are candles burning everywhere, and Akon is playing.
That was my favorite.
I know, right?
Akon in the background.
I wanna already know. So Jennifer comes out of the dark and scares the shit out of him, and then comes up to him and starts to make out with him a bit. And we keep cutting back and forth between Needy and Chip. And so we cut back to Needy and Chip, and they're starting to get down to business, if you will. And so then we cut back to Jennifer and Colin, and we see that Jennifer's eyes, as she's making out with Colin, have changed into like snake eyes. And just when he notices this, she starts to break his fingers and his wrist. We switch back to Needy and Chip, and Needy is on the bottom. They're in missionary position as good teenagers who are having sex probably for the first time or second time probably are doing. And she sees blood seeping through the ceiling. And then in the corner of the room, there's a dead Jonas and an evil Jennifer crouching on the side arm of the chair that he is sitting in. And every time that Needy gasps, Chip is patting himself on the back because he's like, I am fucking good.
Yeah, he is so proud and impressed with himself. He's like, oh yeah.
He's like, I got this.
Yeah.
So we cut back to Jennifer and we see a silhouette from the candles of Jennifer dislodging her jaw again and starting to devour Colin from his chest down.
Oh my god! Can we talk about like how tiny her waist was?
Oh my
shadow
gosh!
Silhouette. I'm like,
yeah.
Was that going to get bigger? And it didn't.
No. Well, that's so fake.
I know, but still, I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's because she was starving. She hadn't eaten in a month.
True. That's what I thought. I'm like, oh, she's starving. Her stomach is so tiny. And then I thought when she ate, it would like go back to a normal size. But it's
you gotta give it some time.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so funny. So then we cut back to Needy and Chip, and Needy has officially started to freak out. And Chip is like, "Oh no, am I hurting you?" And then he asks, he's like, "Am I too big?"
With this big smile. He's like, "Am I too big?"
After they've already like had sex for a while, like
right?
They've been doing it for a minute at this point in time. Like,
oh boys.
So Needy very quickly gets dressed and books it out of there. As she's leaving, and by leaving, I mean driving, she sees Jennifer come out of the woods covered in blood and is standing in the middle of the road. So Needy takes evasive maneuvers and cuts a right turn so fast, Batman would be proud. She then looks back behind her, and Jennifer pounces on the hood of her car right as she looks in front of her and breaks the windshield. So how Needy got home, not being able to see properly through her windshield, I will never know.
Right?
But she does.
And she already wears glasses. And it's dark out. Like, how did this girl make it home in one piece?
She hung out the window, stuck her head out the window, is just driving with her arm hanging out on the steering wheel.
That's the only way I can think of.
She had a sweater on, so we at least know it wasn't too hot. So, like I said, Needy does get home, and she like dives into her couch and curls up to cry and sob before making it to her bedroom. And her bedroom is dark when she finally gets up there. She climbs into bed, to pass the fuck out. Out of the darkness, out from underneath her covers, pops Jennifer. Needy screams and then yells at her, "Get out!" Jennifer comes up to her, and mind you, she's wearing like, they're not boy shorts. It's just like, they're in the style of like boys' underwear, but like girls' underwear. And I'm trying to think what they're called.
I think they are called boy shorts.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they are boy shorts. Mm-hmm. Okay. So she's wearing boy shorts, and Needy's like, is that my Evil Dead shirt? Which is very funny for a horror movie to be wearing another horror movie t-shirt. And Jennifer's like, why? We always sleep in the same bed when we have sleepovers. And then she starts to make out with Needy. And after just a few kisses, she kind of collapses onto her back, and Needy chases after her to make out with her some more. And after about, I want to say a minute of this, Needy freaks out and is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think what's her face is starting to put like, it looked like she was in like a trance or like under a spell of some sort.
Right. And I think that's the idea of this. So what we come to find out later, and what the whole idea of this movie is that Jennifer has become a succubus. And a succubus generally is a demon that lures its victims in with sex, essentially. And so the idea is that they're able to attract anybody that they want, But we have the inkling, perhaps, that Needy had an attraction to Jennifer beforehand anyway. But it's not very clear.
Mhm.
You know, they don't really make it clear enough that that is really the case. So when the makeout scene happens, we're not sure if it's because Jennifer is a succubus or if it's because of Needy's sexual desires for Jennifer, if that makes sense.
Okay, gotcha.
So Jennifer says there's no need to freak out. And then she gets really serious and she's like, well, let me go ahead and tell you what happened that night in the van. So
I love she like tells the story like so nonchalantly, like it's just like a casual story. Like
it's not some scary, like horrific story, every woman's nightmare, essentially, that they have to be concerned about anytime that they leave their house or if they're even in their house. Like anytime anything goes bump in the night, my God.
Oh my gosh.
Any sound that anybody's ever made, they're like, oh my God.
What is that?
Is that is that a man coming to harm me?
Am I about to die?
Am I about to die? At all times.
Oh gosh.
So we cut back to the van and we're inside the van now. And Jennifer's kind of come back to her senses. She's no longer in the trance that she was kind of put into. And she asks the band, because the entire band is in this van now, are you guys rapists? And one of them says to Nikolai, are you sure she's a virgin? And she, because of the way that women are trained to be afraid of men, and because we have to be, she leans into this. She's like, yes, I'm a virgin. I don't even know how to do sex. Like, I am not the right person for you guys to like want to have sex with. Like, please let me go. And this really only fuels them more because that's actually what they want. Mm-hmm. So when they reach their destination, which is Devil's Kettle, the waterfall that the town is named after, she tries to make a run for it, but it doesn't work. Once they reach the edge of the waterfall, they tie her up and they gag her. And Nikolai tells one of the other guys, one of the other band members who actually has a name that I didn't write down because it really wasn't all that important because none of the other ones have a name. He says, do you want to keep working at the coffee shop forever? Because I certainly don't. Don't you want to be rich and awesome like Adam Levine from Maroon 5? Well, if you do, we have to go through this ritual. And then he starts to read from the ritual that he downloaded offline.
It's like printed off like the internet. They're like, that's it. He's like,
yep. And then he gets to a point and he's like, hold on, I need to get her name. So he pulls down her gag and he's like, what's your name again? And she's like, Jennifer. So then she starts to beg and beg for her life. And he says, do you know how hard it is to make it as an indie band? I'm sorry, but we have to do this. We're going to have to be one with Satan now in order to make it, in order to be famous.
Gotta sell our souls to the devil.
So he pulls out this Bowie knife and he lifts it up into the air. And right before he's about to bring it down, he's thinking to himself and he's like, Jenny. And then he starts to sing, Jenny, I've got your number. I want to make you mine. Jenny, I've got your number. And then the other bandmates start to chime in also. 8675309. 8675309. And then as he's singing, he brings the knife down and stabs the shit out of her.
Yeah, he goes American Psycho on her.
Yep.
Total overkill.
Yes.
like, sir, I feel like a few stabs would have done it. But
nope. You can't. You got to make sure that she's dead.
What is on the line here?
Their fame is on the line here.
Is on the line. Yeah.
So we cut back to Needy's room, and Jennifer explains that she should be dead, but she's not. In fact, she feels better than ever. And we see that after he was done stabbing her, he throws a knife into the waterfall. Jennifer says she doesn't know what happened afterwards. She just woke up and came to Needy. She was just so hungry, but she knew that she couldn't do that to Needy. So she came across Amit, and he's a foreign exchange student who was also there at Melody Lane. And she's asking him, does anybody know that you're alive? Does anybody know that you made it through? Does anybody know that you survived the fire? And she's like, come with me. I know what to do.
Oh.
So the implication is that she ate him that night. So she explains to Needy that when she's full, it's like she's unkillable. And she takes, I think, a pen or a pencil, and she stabs herself in the arm, drags it across, lifts it up, and it heals right away, as if she's Wolverine or something. This is where we also get the runner where Jennifer tells Needy that maybe you should talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because Needy is like, this is not okay. Needy tells her, okay, you have to leave. So Jennifer puts her pants back on and she hops out the window and takes off.
Because stairs are totally overrated.
The next day, we are at the funeral of Colin. And then we catch Needy doing some paranormal research back at the school library. And as she's doing her paranormal research, this is where we learn that Jennifer has become a succubi. And we learn that succubi are demons that are weakest when they're hungry, and a blade to the heart is the best way to ensure the death of a demon. So later, Chip shows up and he says that he's bought the formal tickets, the spring formal, and asks if she's made the reservations at Cheesecake Factory yet. She's just trying to make sure that Jennifer doesn't hurt anybody else. And he just doesn't understand. He's like, all you care about is Jennifer.
Poor guy just wants to go to the Cheesecake Factory. Do you remember when you were younger thinking that the Cheesecake Factory was so fancy?
Yes. It seemed so expensive and so fancy.
It is kind of expensive, but
that's true. To be fair, I think I've gone to Cheesecake Factory twice in my life. So
I love it. I think they literally have a book for a menu.
I know.
It's so good.
And their portion sizes are the size of your head.
Massive. So. It's amazing. So I guess technically well worth the price.
Well worth the price. And their cheesecake is also the size of your head. And I don't mean, diameter wise, thickness.
I love their cheesecake. I want to go to Cheesecake Factory.
I know what's for dinner for you. Yeah. Chip says, I really care about you. And not just because we made love for 4 minutes.
I love that.
No, you can't laugh at that. This movie is obviously not for you.
Yeah.
Because this is hilarious.
That is lit.
And Needy explains to him, Jennifer is evil and not like high school girl evil. Actually evil.
He's like, yeah, I already knew that.
And she explains, the night that the guys took her, they tried to sacrifice a virgin, but they didn't realize that she hasn't been a virgin since middle school. And if you try to sacrifice a virgin, but sacrifice a non-virgin, a demon will reside in place and need to feed. How's my teenage girl voice acting working?
I think it's really good.
Thank you. So Needy is very concerned about going to the dance, and she explains that going to the dance is going to be like a buffet for Jennifer, which is a very valid concern. I don't know how she would actually get away with it, though, if she's trying to keep it hush-hush.
Right? Yeah. Bad move on Needy.
Right.
Because then now Chip is going to be isolated away from everybody else. And
I know. She just didn't see the big picture.
No, she didn't.
Especially since Jennifer's been going after this guy like meat on a stick. So Needy tells Chip that they can't be together right now. And so basically they take a break. They're on a break. We get shots of Chip and Needy and Jennifer all getting ready for the dance. Now, we have to talk about Needy's dress.
And that was another part where I was like, what year is it? Because that looks like a 70s like
I was thinking
attire,
80s.
hair.
The
Oh,
whole
yeah,
thing was 80s.
I'm sorry, 80s hair and dress. And I'm like, what the
It was
heck?
awful.
And then you look at everybody else's, and everybody else's looks so much more normal and like aligns with like the time, with the decade. But
Right?
hers, for some reason,
Oh my gosh. So bad.
so bad.
So
But she's
bad.
so beautiful that she was able to pull it off. So
She should have pulled it off is what should have happened. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was so bad. And her hair too. Her hair was awful.
I don't know.
All of it was bad. But I will say, like, I like Jennifer's dress, but I hated the gloves. Like, I felt like the gloves were too much.
Maybe. Yeah. I think she looked gorgeous. Yeah. The dress worked. I don't know. Maybe it was just like a way to dress up. It's like an accessory. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like that dress didn't work with gloves. I feel like if you're going to wear gloves, you need to wear like a ball gown. Like,
yeah.
Trying to think of what.
But like, where else are you going to wear gloves? Maybe she was like, this is the only place.
Point.
Like,
you don't wear gloves unless you're at a Kentucky Derby or you're at a cotillion. You don't wear gloves. That is my stance on that.
Not a glove person.
Not a glove person. Unless they're lace. If they're lace gloves, very different story.
But lace
white
gloves
satin lace gloves are appropriate anytime that you want them to be, especially if they're black, and especially with a lot of goth attire. But white satin gloves are not appropriate. I have a lot of rules and stipulations.
Okay. Yeah.
To be fair, I've never told anybody to follow my fashion advice. I often don't think that I have any. So these are just my rules, mostly for myself. So anyway, Needy eventually makes it to the formal. Chip has not yet made it to the formal. He is still walking. And then we see that Jennifer has surprised him and is taking advantage of him.
So, like, what happened to their buddy system? Remember, they were implementing a curfew. Like, clearly this night, all of that went out the window.
I think that buddy system and curfew was just for like the first month or so. And then like they kind of gave up.
Yeah, clearly.
With
whatever
each
happened,
death,
happened.
Their care started to dwindle.
They care less and less. Like with Colin's death, it's like nothing even happened. They're like, oh, yeah, another day. Same old.
Well, and then like Chip's mom gave him some pepper spray or some mace, which is great. I loved it. So Jennifer comes up to him and says that Needy was really upset about Colin. And it wasn't just because he died, but it was because Colin were porking on a semi-regular basis. And like some real varsity moves.
Oh my goodness.
She then explains that she really cares about him and a lot more than she'd like to admit. And that Needy didn't deserve him.
You guys are so gullible.
I know. But I guess when you look like Megan Fox.
Yeah.
How can you not be?
True that.
So we are back at the formal. And once again, Low Shoulder rolls their ugly head. Because they have decided to play at the formal for free in honor of the Melody Lane fire. And Needy is giving them all the death stare from across the room. And they apparently only have one song. Yep. Because that's the only song that ever plays.
Only song. I'm like, y'all couldn't like play something different, mix it up, introduce them to a new single.
Nope. Their like town anthem is Through the Trees by this band.
Yeah, it is. They are milking that song.
So we cut back to Jennifer and Chip, and she's making out with Chip. And she then asks him, am I better than Needy? And he's like, what? Why would you ask me that? And she kind of just like passes it off. And this is where we see that Needy is back at the formula and she's touching her lips and realizes she knows that they're making out and starts to book it out of the formal. Very Tom Cruise run like.
Right? the Tom Cruise run. Oh my goodness. Sorry. No one even there, of course.
Rude. We cut to Jennifer taking Chip up to an abandoned, disgusting pool. I don't even know what this pool is. I don't think it's the school pool. I don't think it's the community pool. I don't know what this pool is.
Yeah, I don't understand why they went there.
Because she's trying to kill him.
Well, like, yeah, but like, why would he be like, okay, let's...
I don't know either. Like, he must be under her trance. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. She's just putting all these guys under a trance.
That's what you do when you're a succubus, or at least I would assume. I've never been one, but I assume. At least not to my knowledge. You know, I've never been a succubus. However, if I start glowing, you know, let me know. Why are you glowing? Now, the question is, am I still vegan if I'm killing men but not eating animals still?
No, I think that just makes you a cannibalist.
Questions. The door is open enough. You got this. My God, why do you got to keep scratching at the door? So once they reach and break into this disgusting pool, Chip and Jennifer continue to kiss, but Chip breaks away. So this pisses Jennifer off, and she knocks him into the pool and basically tries to hold his head underwater and drown him.
That disgusting water.
Oh my God,
it was
so stagnant.
So gross. Yeah.
So Needy is still running Tom Cruise style all the way up the hill that this pool is on. Also, this pool looks like, I don't know, it's like a Roman pool all the way up a hill. My God.
Yeah.
But she finally gets there right as Jennifer is chowing down on Chip's jugular. She has pulled herself into the window through the vines that look like something out of Jumanji and rolls down and dives into the pool on top of Jennifer, plunging Jennifer underneath the stagnant, gross water. And Chip, barely alive, passes Needy the mace that his mom gave him. And Jennifer has disappeared underneath the water. But much like a monster out of an ocean sea monster movie, she comes hurtling back and just leaves ripples of water in her wake before she pops up right in front of Needy, and Needy sprays her with the mace, causing her to choke. And in response, Jennifer pukes black goo at her again. I feel like that's her favorite move. Jennifer then launches out of the pool and starts to hover above the pool. To which Chip replies, "She can fly now?" And Needy's like, "She's just hovering. It's not that impressive."
She's just not fazed by anything now. Now that she knows, she's like, she's just hovering. Like, who cares? No biggie.
Yeah. And she's like, Jennifer says, "God, do you have to undermine everything I do?" So they finally all make it out of the water and onto the side of the pool. And Needy and Jennifer exchange harsh words with one another. And Jennifer eventually launches at Needy and says that she's going to, let's see, how does she phrase it? She says, "I'm going to eat you and shit you out," I think is what she says.
I think so. That sounds
I think
right.
That's what she says.
Sounds like something she would say.
And just as she launches at her, Chip thrusts a busted pool scoop through Jennifer's diaphragm. So Jennifer pulls it out of her and she asks Needy, do you have a tampon?
OMG.
And then when Needy says she doesn't, Jennifer hops out the window and Needy runs to Chip as he takes his last breath and dies.
Bye-bye, Chip.
So we cut to where we were at the very beginning of the movie with Jennifer looking not so hot in bed.
For her.
For her.
Yeah. She's like, oh, Jennifer looks like crap. Well, as crappy as Jennifer can look.
Right, exactly. Very true. She still looks like a 7.5.
Yeah. She's a solid 7 or 8. Yeah.
So she turns off her TV that was on, playing a really hilarious infomercial. Like, I remember these infomercials.
I did too.
But I don't remember this guy's name with the ponytail, the curly ponytail, trying to push exercise equipment. But anyways, she turns off the TV and she turns off the light. And all of a sudden, flies through the window, attacked Jennifer. And Jennifer takes a bite out of her shoulder. And this is when Needy reveals that she's got a box cutter. Jennifer's like, God, you're butch. Why do you gotta buy all of your weapons from Home Depot? So Jennifer lifts them both up into the air as they continue to levitate, essentially. And they twirl, and Needy tears off Jennifer's BFF necklace. And as she does that, Jennifer comes crashing down. Needy comes crashing down on top of her and plunges the box cutter into Jennifer's heart. And Jennifer responds, my tit.
So, like, box cutters are not that deep. Like the knives. Have you ever used a box cutter?
Mm-hmm.
They're like maybe like an inch or two deep. I feel
you
like if
can
you were to
buy
stab
like
someone,
industrial ones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
like the one that she has is one that you can like adjust.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that part. I thought it was one of the ones that just has like the 1 inch or 2 inch blade. I'm like, are you sure you got her heart? I don't think it goes that deep, but okay.
To be fair, your heart's relatively like, it's not that deep in your chest. Like, ugh.
I guess it depends how big the tit is. Maybe. I don't know.
When you think about how thin Megan Fox is.
True. Yeah.
To which Needy actually does respond. It's not your tit. That's your heart. So after a moment of Needy being stunned by what she just had to do, Jennifer's mom comes in and she, very realistically freaks the fuck out and is like, Needy, Jennifer, what has happened? And at this point in time, we cut back to Needy back in solitary confinement, where the guards have just slid food underneath her door, and she wakes up from being in a meditative state, and we see that she is floating. She says in voiceover that the good thing is that if a demon bites you, you might get some of their abilities. So with her kicking abilities, she also kicks out the window that's in the solitary confinement room about 12 feet above her, and she walks out. As she's walking out, she sees the knife that the band dropped in the vortex, and she picks it up. She hitchhikes, and the guy asks, like, where are you going? She says she's following a rock band. I need to go east. I want to go to Madison. Tonight's going to be their last show. And that's when the movie ends. But
I wish we could have seen that.
We do get the closing credits where we see this great collage of photos of the band signing their fans, doing very debaucherous things. And then all of a sudden we hear a growl paired very well with some bloody handprints. And we get some stills of their murder crime scene.
I didn't watch the credits.
You didn't watch the credits?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Well,
god.
now you know.
Okay, well now I'm gonna have to rewatch just the credits.
Yeah, just the credits. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh my
There's like
God.
blood everywhere. Like they have been abolished.
Good.
Like
Glad to hear it.
it's fantastic. So I think it's hilarious that like Needy has kept this like plot for revenge throughout the entire movie.
Also, I don't feel like a lot of time has like passed over like the course of this movie. Maybe like a month or two.
I think at least 3 months. Because if you think about the times that Jennifer's had to feed. So there was the night of the fire, she had to feed. And then a month later, when she fed on Jonas. And then a month after that, she fed on Colin. And then a month after that, she tried to feed on. So about 3 months.
I think so. But I think Jonas was the jock, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that one happened like right away.
No, I think you're
because
right.
Colin was
It might
for
have
the
been the
1
day
month anniversary. Yeah. Colin was
All
like,
right, so like
away.
2 months.
Yeah, something like that. But amazing.
Cool. So does this pass the Bechdel test?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
It does. Now, I have a very important question to ask you. Just throwing up on your best friend count.
Count as what?
Passing the Bechdel test.
I would imagine not. And doesn't the Bechdel test require dialogue? I don't think vomiting counts. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're communicating through like body language and that was like, I don't know.
Bodily fluids.
Yeah, communicating through bodily fluids.
Oh my God. So, yes, it passes a whole bunch. They go back and forth quite a bit between obviously Needy and Jennifer, but between Needy and her mom, between Needy and the doctor that she kicks the shit out of in the beginning.
Oh, yep. About her diet.
So a couple of good spots where it passes.
Oh yeah, quite a few.
And then some fun trivia about this said movie of Jennifer's Body. Megan Fox has said that this is her favorite movie of her respective filmographies. The waterfall that goes nowhere is the Devil's Kettle at Judge Magny State Park in Minnesota. The water disappears into a glacial pothole.
Interesting.
So it's a real place in Minnesota.
Cool.
And it actually is called Devil's Kettle. So the black goo that Jennifer vomits is Hershey's chocolate syrup along with CGI.
Oh, wow.
And then Amanda Seyfried admitted in interviews that she really enjoyed her making out scene with Megan Fox. She said it was very exciting. Jennifer's, quote unquote, Jennifer's Body is one of my favorite movies that I've done. It was overlooked in theaters, but it does have a DVD following. I can't believe nobody wanted to see Megan Fox and me hitting it. They had an extremely close up of our tongues, and I'm telling you, the thing about the scene is that it's really sexy. I think Megan and I kissed really well. We have similar kissing styles, and it worked. We got it done for the masses. And then last but not least, the scene where Jennifer is swimming naked in the lake. Megan Fox actually wore a flesh-colored bikini.
Good for her.
And she does look naked, though.
Yeah, she does. Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on this movie?
I really like this movie. This movie was so fun. I really, I forgot how much that I actually enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
The dialogue's interesting, the script. but yeah, I thought it was so much fun. How did you like it?
Oh, I love this movie. I'm right there with you. Like, I think this movie is so much fun. I read a couple of things where, this is one of those horror movies where it kind of subverts the traditional trope of like the woman being in trouble, where the actual victims in the movie are men, and the person who is the monster is the woman. And so it's so fun to see that kind of subversion. And then, of course, the dialogue. And it's just so funny and just like cheesy. It's camp. It is pure camp. And it didn't do well when it first came out, but it has since grown like a following, a cult following, and for good reason. But it does have those elements that come with like sexual assault, you know, where you're being lured into a situation, you can't say no, and you're trying to figure out how best not to get hurt. Specifically when Jennifer gets pulled into the van and when she's trying to figure out how to get out of it and how not to get, you know, put into an even worse situation. But of course it doesn't work. And just realizing that like, you never know how to really protect yourself. And there really is no way to protect yourself if somebody is going to hurt you, if they really have the mindset for it. So, but yeah, either way, I like the fact that she came out stronger and
right. Joke's on you, motherfuckers.
Right.
I love that.
But yeah, I love this movie. I think it's great. I think I watched it too late. Like I didn't watch it soon enough is really what I'm trying to say. And I will continue to watch it whenever time permits.
Wait, so you didn't watch it when it first came out?
No, I didn't watch it until I think last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I feel like I did watch it when it came out and I didn't appreciate it at the time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, I know. I agree with the 1-star rating. I feel like this movie was ahead of its time.
You mean the 10-star rating?
Oh, yeah, the 10-star rating.
I was like,
not the 1-star rating. But yeah, a reason why I originally thought that it was written by a guy was because of the makeout scene, but also because I remember when I was younger, that was one of like the main scenes that they put in the trailer. And I felt like it was to lure like the opposite sex audience in. But also I feel like it was necessary because my mom and I were just talking about this. I don't know if I mentioned this before, how we were talking about Barbie and the Oppenheimer movie coming out at the same time, and how we were saying how girls will watch guy movies or whatever, and not think anything of it. But when it comes to like female lead movies, guys are like, oh, it's a chick movie, and they won't come out and do the same. That's why we were like, we need to watch Barbie multiple times because we have to like support that. And so I felt like maybe, I mean, obviously I could be totally wrong, but I feel like when they were doing the trailer, they probably felt it was necessary to put that kind of content in it.
Oh, yeah.
Just to bring in that other audience, or else they would be like, oh, it's just a chick movie. And so.
Right. Yeah. And that happens anytime that there's like a female lead. Like even, oh gosh, what are some popular female lead movies?
Bridesmaids. That was another one we were talking about too. Because it came out right after.
It was Bridesmaids. Fucking hilarious.
It is an amazing movie, but it came out shortly after. What is that
Hangover?
Vegas one? The Hangover. And we remember we went to Walgreens and the cashier was like, oh, like, what did you guys do today? You know, small talk. And we mentioned that we watched Bridesmaids and it was really good. And he's like, oh, like, that's like the chick movie or whatever, like the girls movie. And it's like, and we were thinking back on it. We're like, it's just something that happens, which is unfortunate.
I know. It is truly unfortunate. So hopefully with time, it'll change. One movie at a time. Total watch. Yeah. We'll watch again many times. Super hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Caffeinated Flicks. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can follow us on Instagram at Caffeinated Flicks Pod or email us at caffeinatedflicks@gmail.com.
And just like every other podcast, we would love it if you could follow us in your podcasting app and give us a rating or review. Your feedback helps us get better. And if you're enjoying us so far, please tell a friend.
We'll catch you on the flick side.